So today we're going to be talking about corporate aircraft selection for our company in Aviation 360. For this selection, we have some key considerations. First one is going to be range, and the important part about that is range with a passenger load. For a lot of these trips, our COO is traveling with 3 additional people, plus the pilot, so we need to make sure we have a plane that's capable of moving more than just its own weight across these distances. We also need to look at passenger space. We want to make sure everyone's not too cramped. The travel time, how long it's going to take us to get to that furthest out location, our upfront costs, and then our cost of operation as well. First contender is going to be the Cessna Grand Caravan EX. It is the lowest upfront cost and is tied for the most seats with the King Air 350i. Next, we have the Pilatus PC-12 NG. It's going to be the lowest operating cost with a phenomenal range and a lot of interior cabin space. Next is the Nexon Aerospace G90 XT. It's a low-cost twin. It's got some good speed. Of course, it's kind of expected with anything that's got more than one engine. Next up is the King Air 350i. It's got great load capacity. It's a very high-speed turboprop, and again, it is tied for the most seats. Then we have the Pilatus PC-24. It's the only jet on this list. It's got the highest upfront cost, but has a great speed. It's not that much more to operate than the King Air 350 is. So looking at a comparison of these aircraft, as I say, the Cessna Grand Caravan will be the lowest entry cost. It's only about $2.5 million, but it also has the shortest range at only 816 miles, and the lowest speed at only 185 knots. It isn't that expensive to operate for each trip. 300 nautical mile trip is going to be about $878, but it's going to take you about an hour and 40 minutes. Very slow compared to everyone else. Next is the Pilatus PC-12. It's a good bit more expensive at almost $5 million. However, it doubles the range of the Grand Caravan out to 1,600 miles, and it adds another 100 knots onto that speed at 285. And it has a lower cost for a 300 mile trip. It takes almost 30 minutes off of that trip distance, which is very important. As you can see, it brings our COO utilization down by about 60 hours a year. So then we get into our twin engines. We have our G90 XT. It's going to be only slightly more than the Grand Caravan. However, what we lose against that PC-12 is about 300 miles of range. We really don't pick up any speed, and it is substantially more to operate on these trips, costing about $1,160 for a single 300 nautical mile trip. Again, though, the advantage being we have a little bit more speed, so we're going to take about 10 hours a year off of the COO's timeline. After that, we have our King Air 350. A substantial jump up in price. It puts us at $7.3 million. However, it gets us a lot of that range back that the PC-12 has, increases speed substantially, but again, that does have the trade-off of more dollars per mile. And then our PC-24. Really, unless we're planning on drastically expanding our market and moving much further away from our home base, this isn't necessarily the best option, but it depends on what company outlook is for the next 5 to 10 years. If we're really planning on growing and expanding rapidly and shifting our areas of focus substantially further out, this is a great option. It only costs a little bit more than that 350i, and its operating cost is only about $30 more for that 300 nautical mile trip. So it's a very good and effective option.